How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another public video. I wanted to take a minute just to not address necessarily the public uh, outcries and the fighting that is taking place currently and in our society. I'm not necessarily addressing that particularly. That's not the place for this. But there is a takeaway that I do want to explain and hopefully bring to you all, and that is that we're in a society that is this or that. You're either here or you're here. And if you're not agreeing with this, then you're immediately insinuated to be over here and vice versa. It's a two-way street. And the reality is whether we realize this or not, is that type of mentality, that conditioning, let's just say, will start to feed into and bleed into what is our day to day and how we view ourselves. And this is why it's important to recognize that that is in many ways, from my humble opinion, a spell that is being cast on people to believe and start thinking in a way that is not true at all. And why that's important is they're like, well, if you're not left, you're right, or if you're right, you're left. Again, this isn't about that, but that type of mindset is what creates division with each other. But now take that same concept and apply it to yourself. Well, I'm good, so therefore I can never do bad, or I'm bad, so therefore I can never be good. And a lot of that is a conditioning that might be brought to you as a child or brought to you in past relationships, whatever it may be, or you, for some, you find in yourself that that's just what you believe about who you are. Or I can do no wrong. Therefore, everyone else around me is bad. And this is where that ownership comes into play. Having the ability to take the wheel of your life, but also having the cognitive awareness of others around you, in line with you. Like, hey, I'm making mistakes. I know I make mistakes. I can fess up to my mistakes, but I'm also not going to take the blame for everything that isn't something that I have done. If someone's making an insinuation, I'm not going to immediately just cave. Like, there's that balance that we need to find within ourselves. And in that balance, you realize it isn't left or right, yes or no, good or bad. There is dualism in the world, sure. Yes, there is places where that does come into effect, but this is not one of them. And I want that to be brought on because as there's fighting taking place between people, as there's all of this chaos that, in my humble opinion, is not by accident, is very, very, what's the word I'm looking for here? Is very technical, let's just say. It's precise, not by a mistake. I do think that there is a deeper connection or disconnection to self when we get ourselves in these places where we see everything in this dualism, because now we look at ourselves. It's hard to just turn that off of, man, there's the bad people, there's the good people, there's this, there's that. Now you go to yourself, you're alone and you're with your thoughts. And anything you do, it's now going, oh my gosh, I've been thinking in this way. How does this apply to me? And it's just not true. There's someone who can have a difference of opinion that you don't agree with, but you can really care about that person. You don't have to burn the bridges, but it's the same with yourself. You can have a thought that you maybe once had in the past and you don't agree with anymore because you've learned from it, whatever that is. Okay. What are you going to do? Burn the bridge of yourself? No, you go, okay, this is part of life. This is learning. You have to set boundaries with yourself and also others. That's just the reality of life. If we don't know how to set those boundaries, then it feels very chaotic and it feels like we have to burn everything. So this is why if we make mistakes, we got to be gentle with ourselves. Hey, I made a mistake. I can own up to that mistake instead of burning myself down to the ground of like, I'm a terrible person. I'll never be good, because that become very toxic in your relationships, in your life. This could cause a lot of dis-ease in yourself. Also, to the flip side of that coin, you could be very much, I can't do wrong. I'm such a good person that nothing bad could ever happen from me, coming from me. Everyone else is wrong. That can cause a lot of bridges to be burned and a lot of internal stress and external stress. And then it becomes a situation where it has that effect on a negative way on the body. And it's going, I need to at some point take ownership of my responsibility, my actions, my words. And this isn't bashing anyone in particular. It's everybody, myself included. So if we want to see change in ourselves and the world, we got to get out of this dualism mindset. I'm good or I'm bad. They're good or they're bad. This is right, this is wrong. Find the good or the true in everything. There's always a beauty in something. If we make a mistake, there's something to be learned. If I don't necessarily reach my fitness goals or I fall off the wagon, what could have been learned in that moment? What was going on in my life that led me to that point where I came to that crossroad where I made a decision maybe to eat something I was really trying not to, or being mindful of, what I'm saying, what I'm watching, what I'm taking in. What led me to that point? There's the learning that we can see a beautiful lesson in. But if we're in this dualism, it's hard to see those lessons. It's always looking at what's the next problem I'm going to fight myself about? What's the next problem I'm going to fight others about? What's the next problem I have to defend myself with myself? So again, this isn't about trying to get into the weeds of politics or anything like that. Everyone's going to have their opinions. The question I always have is how are you treating yourself? How are you really taking care of yourself? Because I also see a lot of people who do focus on the world out here, and I get it. This is important. I totally get it. And then you ask them about their internal world, and they go, I don't have time for this. I have to focus on what's out here. But I'm under the firm belief that what you do in your internal world and what your internal world is will affect your external. How you view yourself, how you handle yourself, how you deal with your own emotions with internally is going to affect the external. That I truly believe. And that's why the realm in which, or the world in which you live in is the world that you create behind your eyes within this place here. And I'm not saying things won't happen, but how you handle it can change based off of your choices that you make. Those choices come from within. You have to react. I get that, but it's a choice that you learn and you train and you have the skill within yourself to then make those decisions in real time. If I'm in a situation where I'm with, my family and I need to make a decision on whatever it may be, I'm always going to what is my internal world? Am I stressed? Am I calm? Am I collected? Can I make the best choice for my family? Can I make the best choice for me? But if I don't know how to work in that and handle that stress, then I'll never be able to know how to handle it in the outside world effectively. That's my opinion. Um, Take it how you will. This is why training is so important. Working on, hey, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to have to do this again and again and again. I have to be repetitive. It's not because I'm bad or that I can't get it. It's just it takes time. It has to take repetition. It has to take practice. It has to take a gentleness, a calmness with self to fulfill and exceed what it is you're trying to do. Just like in the outside world. How many times have you been in situations where you find yourself always arguing and you can't diffuse a situation? Maybe there's a change that needs to take place internally before you go into those conversations. Or maybe when you're doing something for yourself, your first reaction is to put yourself down. I'm stupid. I can't do this. I can't. And then you figure it out and you're like, man, I just berated myself rather than taking a minute to be like, all right, let me just figure this out. I only say this from someone who's done it. I've done it to myself. I've had it with other people. It's a work in progress in my own life. So I'm not speaking a high, in the high castle type situation. It's very much an even playing field. But it's something I'm working on, and I hope others can learn from this, take from this. Maybe you already know all this, but hopefully it's a good reminder, at least, to what you can do for yourself, for your loved ones, for your friends, whatever, whoever may be your community. But again, more importantly, yourself first and foremost. Find yourself in a place where you can get yourself out of this dualistic mindset. Either I'm good or I'm bad. They're good or they're bad. Now, someone might do something that you don't agree with. And you're like, man, morally, that's not right. How do we handle ourselves after that situation? Do we carry that energy going home or in our day-to-day life? Or can we take a breath, separate ourselves from the energy that we don't agree with, and learn to go, let me just be the best person I can be. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully you can find it in your heart and in your body to focus on you. Take that into this 2026. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your week. And on that, I'll see you all soon. Bye.